Republican Ejike Okpa joins me on the news from Dallas, Texas to discuss this. Good to have you join us, Ejike Okpa.
Thank you, and good afternoon for having me on your show.
Let me get your reaction to this, especially because there were 35 Republican lawmakers who supported this bill, which is up from the 10. That means 25 joined the 10 people who supported the move to impeach Trump earlier. Let's get your reaction to this latest development.
I mean, we welcome the development. We want to understand, the facts, the truth behind what happened January 6th. So it is a good, good faith effort on the Republican side to join the Democrats with a number of Republicans who joined it to see, hey, let's pass, let's go forward. Of course, we still have to go to the Senate and get that aspect of it done. So before the commission can be established, this is politics as usual. I mean, at least it shows that some Republican members are willing for us to do this in order to find out what is the facts behind. Next year is midterm election. So if you dig deep into this, you may find out that some of the Republicans that are voted for this are maybe those who are in a district that they are afraid that their constituents may have, a different reaction if they did not. So it's not surprising, to me that number has, voted to see the commission established.
I want to get to the midterms shortly, but let's talk about the reaction of people to this. Some people think that, look, this is old news and it's time to move on and focus on governance. But there are people like Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney who think that this is an ongoing threat and silence is not an option. How do you react?
Well, I mean, we know what happened to the Congresswoman Cheney. Of course, she's not a favorite of the GOP. She has just lost her leadership position. So what do you think she's going to do? She's going to want to appeal to the greater community across the aisle that I'm the only one that is sensible. I mean, okay, you're the only one sensible out of your Republican colleagues. More grace to her, more of that. But the point is, we need to find out what is behind the January 6th, incident. And then, just like when we had 9/11, there was a commission that was set up to dig into it. So it's all politics, even though we are told it's not politics. It's all politics because the Democrats have control of the House. And so they will leverage that opportunity in order to make everybody look like, we're the only one that are concerned about America. But we know differently.
But they're also getting Republican support, so it does look like some sort of bipartisan.
That shows you, yeah.
So it looks like some sort of bipartisan move. But I want to talk to you about, because you mentioned the midterms earlier. Some days ago, there was a clip by Republican representative from Georgia, Andrew Clyde, where he likened the insurrection to, say, a tourist visit. When you hear statements like that coming from Republican lawmakers, what do you think will be the biggest litmus test for Republicans ahead the midterm elections?
Well, I mean, so many things are going to be. This is just one issue that caught the attention of us. January this year. So we that's one issue. We have the issue post-pandemic. We have so many things. We have the border crisis. We have so many things. But then when it comes to midterm election, every district, every congressional district has issues that their constituents or the voters within that district would love to see their congressperson talk about. So there may be some districts where they think this is a non-issue. We don't want you doing this. Or there's some districts that say, hey, we want you to be part of this. We want you to go in and support that the commission is established. So it is not a global, universal, uniformed agenda for everybody. I mean, the Democrats, some of them may think this is a waste of time, but because they don't want to alienate their leadership, so they're just going to vote, even though they are reluctant voters. But Republicans joining the Democrats to do this shows the good faith effort that, hey, we want to get this thing done. But if you dig deeper, you may find out these are Republican congressional people that are vulnerable in their district. And maybe they're responding to that district, telling them, we want you to vote for this. Because before any vote on major issue like this happens, they usually people call them and say, hey, what are you thinking? We want you to do. When they see the number of calls or letters that come to their office, then that persuades them one way or the other to vote.
But do you think it's time for the Republican Party to move away from the Trump agenda? Because you hear a lot of Republicans, especially at Capitol Hill, continue to talk about how, spread that false statement of how the election was stolen and talk about the insurrection like it meant nothing. Isn't it time for the Republican Party to say, look, we need a new agenda or a new leadership and move away from President Trump or former President Trump?
Look, the politicians in America always somehow get tied into the ex of the former president. When Obama left, the Democrats were still doing that. Now that we have a Democrat who's president, if Biden makes it 4 years and comes out, that's going to be part of what he started that people are going to want to be leaning on. So Trump had just left office, 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, if not for the pandemic and that led to the mail-in ballot and all these other things, I don't think anybody would have beaten him because the economy was good. Nobody attacked any country while he was in office. I mean, look at what is going on now in Israel and Palestine. They're attacking each other. During Trump, nothing like that happened. So it is hard to move away from somebody who had the economy doing well, had national security, almost tight, and now, so what do you think people what do you expect people to do? There are people still like him. He wasn't a bad president. He's just a president whose circumstances got caught up with him, and then the election went the way he did. If he runs again, I'm going to support him. I may not like some aspect of his personality, but I like the fact that when he did the job, he did it better than people in recent history. So there's nothing about him. No president of America is a perfect individual. This is not a perfect nation. We are a nation that is always trying to find the truth, and sometimes the truth takes time for it to come out, but the nation moves on. So again, it's harder to move away from Trump because he still has a great influence. I mean, 85 million voters for him. How are they just going to all of a sudden vanish? They're not going to. I mean, so we see what happens next year midterm election. If the Republicans are successful in taking over the House, then then the momentum is built.
All right, we'll see how this bill plays out in the Senate. Hopefully, let's see if it passes through. But it's always good to talk to you, Republican Ejike Okpa. Thanks for talking to us.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I like the fact you said Republican Ejike Okpa. I came to America to be an American. I just like the elephant better than a donkey. So I'm a Republican by choice. Thank you.
All right, thanks for talking to us.